How's it going, everyone? Hope you're doing well. This beautiful day is starting to warm up over here in Michigan. It's getting up there. It's still a little cold, but it's going all right. For our next audiobook summary, Economic Foundation Media delved into the book called The Go-Giver. And in this audio summary, we want to compile Bob Burg and John David Mann's book down into the most comprehensible format for easy reading and comprehension. Now, onto this little story about a powerful business idea. The story begins with a sales broker named Joe, struggling to make a third quarter deadline and terribly pessimistic about fellow co-workers. Our protagonist reaches out to a senior partner for the number of a chairman, seemingly a motivational speaker, in order to find the clout and leverage a lost client said the firm lacked. Receiving notice to meet on Saturday, Joe arrived at Pindar, the chairman's beautiful mansion, and was greeted by the man himself. During conversation, the two briefly exchanged an idea of opening a coffee shop, in which Joe referred to success as making a killing as opposed to sharing a commodity, hence revealing the desired secret to wealth and success: giving. Shocked by the simplicity or perhaps craziness of the response, Joe questioned the authenticity of his wealthy compadre. Pindar then offered a proposal: meet with him every lunch break and learn his principles of success, with one agreement. With each lesson learned, Joe must implement immediately. Joe agreed, and we begin with the first lesson in another coffee shop. After being seated promptly, Pindar makes every effort to greet and sympathize with staff, introducing Joe to Ernesto, the soon-to-be-discovered chef and owner of a chain of restaurants, though originally starting from a meager hot dog stand. Ernesto put his customers' experience over all else, remembering names and birthdays, all generating such attention to pique investors to finance a cafe. Eventually, Ernesto bought out Pindar and put money into nearby projects to foster one of the largest portfolios in the city. Our esteemed gentleman then explained the reason for larger clientele in comparison with competitors, attributing all success not to the food or poor restaurants, but the first of our laws: your value comes in turn from the value you provide others, with the chief principle being to provide more than the money spent could ever seemingly buy, leading Joe to refer a client to an individual better capable of serving their needs despite the personal loss. Our next meeting takes place in a financial advisor's office, one solely accounting for 3/4 of all sales, though, as he comes to reveal, he was once struggling to make any. His secret to change: making the emphasis on serving others rather than how they can serve you. This principle makes one magnetic. This principle is the method of creating a true network, one that offers countless referrals without request. Overfill others' buckets, and when you run dry, you may just be surprised at how many offer a refill. Later that night, we witnessed the interactions between Joe and his wife Susan. As Joe arrived home late from work, both parties exhausted, Susan began her end of the agreed-upon 30 minutes of complaining. Joe dozed off in boredom until Susan began to depart for bed, when Joe shifted his gaze and offered to hear more about Susan's day, quickly unraveling all the built-up tension and stress amounting to the wife crying herself to sleep. Upon realization, Joe offered comfort and fell asleep himself, only to wake up in a flurry until he discovered a thoughtful note from Susan thanking him for offering the one thing she wanted most: to be heard. 50-50 is a losing game, and Joe may have just begun to win in the relationship only after shifting from half to 100% of his devotion to his partner. Sound business principles apply not only in the business world, but anywhere your life balance sheet exists. Another item that applies in every one of your experiences is, you. Joe finds the next law to be the value of authenticity. Imitation does not produce creativity, but rather lackluster gestures. As many individuals suggest to get a first job in sales, the career itself transcending the 9 to 5, though more in the sense of each conversation being a sales pitch. When unsuccessful, the conversation may end abruptly, as we may have certainly experienced personally, though in these transactions, you're not selling a television, or even a house for that matter, but the product of yourself. So then, who are you? Make it known and authentic, and you may find out what you are looking for is suddenly everywhere. Finally, we arrive on the final law and guest 2. To begin, I offer the image of a pendulum. What swings one way must, in turn, swing back. And if we cut the string creating the force of tension, an end to the cycle. To this I elaborate. To be able to give, you must be open to receive. In this sense, it is not wise to refuse a gift or the likewise, as this ends the beating of the heart in this global process of exchange. And with these final notes, in this summary, perhaps give listening to your network a try. Give always more than 50% with no concern for repayment, though refuse it not when it arrives. Also, take pride in yourself and what you can offer to the world. Individuality is a gift as well, not to be wasted, always inhaling. When you exhale, there is no telling how many will breathe that same oxygen previously conserved. This has been another audio summary by Economic Foundation Media. We hope you got something out of listening to this, and we look forward to hearing your feedback and applications in the comments. This has been K13. Have a blessed one.